It says we are live, Jesse, and guess what? Now's the time to be alive. While all of these ex-Jehovah's Witnesses are talking about blah, 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 and blah, 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 masturbation, sex, and this and that, and whatever, we're going to talk about things that really matter because, Jesse, this is it.
Oh, hi, Dean. How you doing? It's good to see you again, Dean. Hi, guys. Sit down.
So, guys, welcome to the show. This is it. I'm telling you, the JWGBs are morons. Morons. Trump just announced global peace and security. Jesse, the New World Order is here. I was telling Rick Barron on the Six Screens that it's like who prepares all their life in the NBA, NFL, baseball. And then at the very end, the last quarter, the 2-minute warning, the ninth inning, who goes home? Who goes home and calls and says Armageddon's not going to come in our lifetime? Who does that, Jesse? When this is what's out in the news. Truth Social, Donald Trump tweets, therefore it is imperative that in order to protect global peace and securities, strong measures will be taken. And what is he doing? He's fighting these countries on the list. Donald Trump has just declared war against NATO, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, and the Netherlands, the home of the Rothschilds, where all of your central bank money is at play. So now we have Denmark saying we're going to fire first. We know they have no bullets, but they have a banking system. So if that was not it, Jesse, you have a multi-billion-dollar infrastructure known as the witnesses, right? And you have the printing press. You would think, Jesse, that right now you would call everybody in and say, hey, everybody, this is it. It's time to get to work. So where is it at? Let's see. Well, let's go with this. Check this one out. Elon Musk plans high volume production of Neuralink brain chips and says he wants to automate the surgical procedure. But this just happened, Jesse, January 1st. Elon Musk is planning to ramp up production of his Neuralink brain chips in 2026. What a coincidence. And, here it is. I found it. This is the other thing. If you're a leader of a religion, this, Jesse, this is what you want to be showing everybody at church. And because we're at church, this is what we need to hear.
Mine is the first visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade. The world has changed much since that last visit. And I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
And Jesse, if that is not enough, and I know this is not a reputable source, this is not something that we can, but here it is. Trading has been halted. They just suspended silver trading, force majeure. Here's the thing. People say, oh, Gilbert, you're crazy, yada, yada, yada. Fine. But what does it mean? United States has silver. Russia has silver. China has silver. You know who doesn't have silver? And you know who's going to hurt? You know who is hurting like crazy on the verge of bankruptcy? Denmark, Norway, Sweden, France, Germany, the United Kingdom, the Netherlands, Finland, or we like to say the World Economic Forum. So what I'm trying to say, Jesse, is that all of the stars have aligned. All of the stars have aligned. And what you see here, the stars have aligned. And then, like Jesse says, can you see that? You go, and this is the article, a couple paragraphs on that website. They're not, they're just an empty religion. And so I would like to just finish, and then we'll bring you on with this point. Matthew 25, Jesus talked about the parable of the foolish and wise virgins. And now, remember, he talked about how they took their lamps and met with the bridegroom. Now, 5 of them were wise and 5 were foolish. Those who were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels and lamps. But while the bridegroom was delayed, they slumbered and slept. And then they cried for some oil. And then he says, but the wise virgin says, no, there's not enough for both of us. Go gather your own. And so they left. And when they left, the bridegroom came and they went into the wedding and the door was shut. And afterward, the virgins came saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered, assuredly, I say to you, I do not know you. Isn't it interesting, Jesse, that the Jehovah's Witnesses have left the building to go get oil? The greatest moment of human history.
Never sell anything to any of those people ever again.
I understand.
Do you?
Do you? This is it. I'm telling you, this is it.
Jesse, we are. This is it. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not predicting the end of the world. But the Jehovah's Witnesses have said that it's not coming in our lifetime, and I'm putting my chips on the other side. Go ahead.
Okay, so let me see if I get this straight, because there's too much. There's too. You know, Aaron's driving home, okay?
Yeah.
And you're bringing up all this. I think you might have endangered him. He might have drove off a cliff because you were laying some heavy stuff on him. You're saying that there's this great basketball player who's been playing all his life. And he's going up to game 7 in the 3rd quarter, starting the 4th quarter, and he decides to get the flu. That's Watchtower? That's what you're saying? Oh, wait, your voice is off.
Yeah, Michael Jordan played in the game 5, remember?
With the flu.
With the flu.
But we are saying that Watchtower did. They took their ball, went home. The opposing team has another ball. They're still playing. Watchtower left the court. Kind of like Elvis in 1974. Elvis has left the building. That's what you're saying Watchtower is doing?
Yeah. When
they're telling you the end's coming, the end's coming, the end's coming. And then they're saying it might not come in your lifetime. Right when it's so here's the thing. If you're a betting man, which I know you are because you're all into silver, and you're always betting whether silver guy is AI or real. And I know you go to Vegas and you're betting and you're putting all your money on silver guy being AI. I know you're doing. You're like Pete Rose of the silver industry. But what you're saying is that the Jehovah's Witnesses have been wrong for the last 150 years. And so when they say that the end is not coming, being that they're always wrong, you're thinking that the end is going to come.
Exactly. Wow. Now,
okay, wait. Let me break it down for your audience because this is a lot of information to take in. Are you saying the end of the system of things? Are you saying the end of the ages? The end of the world? What? Because first of all, the Jehovah's Witnesses are a governing body are retarded and stupid in other ways in their use of language. They say the end of the system of things, so it gives them an out.
But you see, this is the beautiful. It's not really beautiful. The lying is so deceitful, deliciously deceitful in how Satan lies. In that Satan will use the Watchtower to say the end of a system of things. But it uses it in the Bible verse where the whole world calls it the end of the ages, right? Or the end of the world. So Watchtower be like, well, I didn't say that. We said system of things. And so, yes, everybody is talking about the new system of things that we're entering it. We all see it. All the evidence is there. And so what does that mean? It means like in the movie where that famous actor, he talks about money and they're just digits, Fugazi. It's all make-believe. So that system comes to an end. Kind of like when you go on YouTube and you find out that 1914 really was the end. It was the end of destroying the old system, the old world, and all of the knowledge, all of the history. And that's why people are finding like, hey, how come we never saw these pictures of the 1800s? How come we didn't know this? Because everything was hidden from us, right? Because we are living in a thing called the new world. We are in the new world. This is the new world. And so we are in a transition mode.
Yeah, and you know what? To the novice mind, Jehovah's Witness and the Canadian Prime Minister, they're the same people. They're politically aligned. Watch. Can you play what he said in China today? Can you play it one more time?
I don't know. Could the heads might blow up.
Watch.
It is the first visit of a Canadian Prime Minister to China in nearly a decade. The world has changed much since that last visit. I believe the progress that we have made in the partnership sets us up well for the new world order.
Okay, right there to the let's say a casual news observer. He's just thinking that the Canadian minister is having some kind of conversation with the Chinese Communist Party government officials, but he's not. He's groveling to them. Right there, you have a surrender, kind of like the Jehovah's Witnesses surrendering, saying, oh, maybe the end won't come. That is a surrender right there. Mark Carney, I don't know if he's a communist, but he's surrendering to the Chinese communists, Canada, our neighbors to the north, Canada. He's putting his money, he's hedging his bet on Canada over the United States. And do you notice that woman's head shaking up and down when he said the world has changed? She's probably an avowed socialist communist. Who knows? She's probably like Eric Swalwell of California. But do you notice what key word he says that the Jehovah's Witnesses always say? We've made a lot of what?
Progress.
They're progressive. In other words, he's speaking code. He's a communist. He's a progressive. The Jehovah's Witnesses have never let go of that word. They claim to be progressive. You can argue with AI and all the people, all the Jehovah's Witnesses, but the Jehovah's Witnesses are embarrassed of every word in Christianity. In the Christian tradition, every word is embarrassing to Jehovah, except the word progressive, which is the word communists use to speak amongst themselves. You notice he identified himself as a communist by saying the word progress. Now, the typical American consumer of news, the person's listening to us, they'll look at that video. They won't understand what he's saying. He's telling them he's a communist. But he can deny it. He can, no, I was talking about progress. We're making political progress. No, they're progressive organization where we're conservative in the West, us Christians and us Americans. We're conservative. We like to use the tone of the original intent of the founding fathers of the United States Constitution. We try new ideas, but we test them against the old and see if it's kind of tuned in to the old tone of freedom. He's not. They want to progress away from it. And Watchtower is the same way as these political. They're hedging their bet on the Chinese communists and the New World Order.
So, guys, this is why this is so big. It's huge, man. I'm going to do this one more time. Ready?
This is it. I'm telling you, this is it.
There's a lot of you who hate, like, you know, your Julian Watsons and others, they hate Donald Trump. Jesse, no. This is it.
Yes, but
you did, we will be relentless about it. And that's the mindset they've got to have, because I think the electorate is going from, we've got to get him out, but also we want accountability.
There has to be accountability. You have to have a situation where there's accountability. And I talked about this the other day with Fanone, the former MPD police officer who almost got killed on January 6th. You know, he said, and I think it's true, that it's more than just the Dems win back the Congress and the White House. We have to change this John Roberts Supreme Court decision that gave the President of the United States a blank check. No man or woman should be above the law in this country. And Donald Trump sure as shit should not be above the law in this country. And I think the Democrats have to talk about it in these terms, that, listen, If we get back in there, and I'm not saying I'm part of the Democratic
Yes,
Party,
you
but
are.
I'm saying this is the way the Democrats should communicate. They should say when they're back in there, if you guys are going to cling to this idea that Donald Trump is unaccountable, it's just not going to work. And that means adding seats to the Supreme Court so that immunity decision can be overturned. And so Donald Trump can be held accountable for his crime.
So what does that mean? This is it, Jesse.
Yeah.
This is it. This is for all the marbles. And this is what people don't understand. And you have, by listening to these, I'm not knocking my fellow XJWs, but you guys are, you're out of the loop. This is it. If Donald Trump is not successful, you will be dead. They want you dead.
Yeah. He did say one thing true. Jim Costa said one thing too.
Yeah.
He's not a Democrat. No, he's their prostitute. He's their whore.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the journalists are. And never forget this. What
Mhm.
they will do to us and our family and our children, they're already plotting on it.
Mhm.
No, and he's a liar of the greatest caliber. He said that they got to be held accountable. Donald Trump is the only politician who has been held to account. The Republican Party is the only party that has been held to account. What do you think the January 6th prisoners were? They were prisoners of war. What do you think Donald Trump was when he got arrested? He was the only. Bill Clinton hasn't been arrested. No. Richard Nixon was forced to resign. Only Republicans are held accountable because they're the only ones that are American. Our Democrat brothers have fallen in love with the Communist Party. They don't view America as founded. They don't view America as founded. He's talking about political and physical retribution against us, Jim Acosta. Republicans don't speak about that. They talk about throwing us in jail. They talk about aborting their babies and chopping off their private parts. They're the party of death and destruction. They burn things. Donald Trump is a builder. He builds things up. Even people he destroys, he builds up. Look at Marco Rubio. He destroyed him during the election, and he elevated him.
That's true.
And so when he talks about accountability, you got to remind all our communist Democrat brothers and sisters, we love you, but only we are held to account. Even you who abort your babies, you're never held to account. Now, in the afterlife, many of them will have to pay. But right now, they get away with murder.
Yeah. I don't follow Benny Johnson, but I don't know if it was on Gateway Pundit or InfoWars where he, like what you just said, holding to account. They killed Charlie Kirk, and not one Republican has rioted. Not one Republican has called for violence. Not one Republican has burned down a city. No. See, we're living in an upside down world. That's
These are the people. Look, let's just build on that. We're living in an upside down. You got to remember this when you're doing political battle or you're doing a debate battle with low IQ individuals that are like the communists or the Democrats or the homosexuals or the transgenders. They can't even tell you what a woman is. So how are they going to tell you about Andromeda? How are they going to tell you about James Webb Space Telescope? How are they going to tell you about matters of physics and biology? They can't even tell you the basic thing that a baby knows when he latches onto his mother's chest. They don't know the basic. Remember the Bible scripture we keep citing over and over? Thank you, Lord, for you have hidden this from the intellectuals. Jim Acosta is the intellectual. That's why they're so ignorant.
Correct. So,
hey, Gilbert, can I say something before it goes a little bit later? To the viewers that are viewing. I had new light. And the new light is this, and you might argue with me, but this is just my opinion, my new light. For years, we had said on the GG for GB channel, if you like the channel or don't like the channel, keep it to yourself. Don't subscribe and don't tell your friends and just keep it to yourself. We don't need you on the GG for GB channel. And I think we're wrong. I think the times are changing. I don't think we have to grovel like Prime Minister Carney of Canada, but we have to tell the audience, listen, if you have your friends, your mom, your dad who's Jehovah's Witness, tell them about this channel because it's a different take. For example, if you go to other conservative-minded people, they're talking about black-pilled, blue-pilled, and we don't do that. We just talk straightforward, conservative, right or wrong. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. and it's a fresh take. And we're not like the Jehovah's Witnesses who throw up the stupid straw man argument that where is this one world government? Who the hell wants one world government? Why don't they change the name of Jehovah's Witnesses to Nimrod or Babylon? So I'll invite everybody to subscribe and tell your friends about this channel.
Now, this is what you'll never hear on any JW channel. The last official act of any government is to loot the treasury. George Washington. This is it. I'm telling you, this is it. What they're uncovering in Minnesota, you guys are seeing the news. You guys know about the train in California. You know all of the problems everywhere, right? And you know that it's all bribes. It's the looting of the treasury. It's the last official act, and you're witnessing it before your very eyes. And it's not a coincidence that you're witnessing it while everything else is going to hell. So this is it. Now, Watchtower or other religions might use it to scare you into submission. No, what we're saying is that we are at the end of the new world order, the new system of things. So in the title, I put down, the leaders of this religion are morons because Trump just announced global peace and security. The new world is here, and they have jumped ship. They have jumped the Titanic right when the moment of truth has come. Because they're not worthy for this moment in time. And I'm saying that this moment in time is a great moment in time, that our fathers wish they could have seen this moment in time.
And great times demand great action. And you have to remember the Jehovah's Witness governing body are a body of inaction. They mean nothing to the world. They're of no major consequence. They have no voice. They're a collective. And the collective is the ash heap of history. The Communist Party is just that. It's an ash heap of collectives. And that's what the Jehovah's Witness governing body is. It's an ash heap, just like all the other thinkers that they could combine all their money together in this collective and it's all going to be a utopia. And they're all going to build this pyramid all the way to heaven, just like Nimrod, the first communist. But here's another point. The times that you described are times that demand action. The Jehovah's Witnesses, we said over and over, are a movement of inaction. And we, the apostates, cannot be like that. We have to be very active. Now, the Jehovah's Witnesses brought this theory over into Christianity in the Western world, which has allowed the Islamists, the Marxists, to invade the United States of America, what we see today in Minnesota and California, many other parts, big cities, the blue cities. A lot of it has to do with the Jehovah's Witness governing body teaching, and they're morons, like you said, of political neutrality. There's a Bible verse that I wish that you would read, and I've been studying on this subject. Can you put up Luke chapter 3, verse 14? And it's your favorite prophet from the old days, John the Baptist speaking. And I was looking up this verse, Luke chapter 3, verse 14. Look what it says. Likewise, the soldiers asked him, saying, "And what shall we do?" So he said to them, "Do not intimidate anyone, accuse falsely, and be content with your wages." Did you notice that John the Baptizer didn't ask him to leave the military service? Did you notice he told him not to do something in the government? He told them to continue with their work, to not accuse people falsely, like calling them Nazis and calling them Satan's organization, and to be content with their wages. This theory about the first century Christians being politically neutral, I really believe it's a demon-inspired expression. It's from Satan himself, because it neuters so many millions of Americans who don't have a voice. They shut up and hide their talent into the ground. The Jehovah's Witnesses are basically dogs with no bite, no bark. They knock on the door and nobody hears it. They witness about a God that they don't know, nobody ever hears about. Their deaf, dumb, and mute spirit that the Bible talks about is the Jehovah's Witness. But the Christian foundation is that be content with your wages. The first Gentile Christian was a Roman soldier. How did John the Baptist treat the soldiers? There's no evidence that Cornelius gave up his rank in the military and became no part of the world like the Jehovah's Witnesses teach.
So the point being, like on that, is that if you follow that logic of the religions of not of being neutral, when Elon Musk is putting Neuralink in your brain, when you see what's happening to the financial markets, when you see the call for peace and security, when you see all of the writings are on the wall, the call for the new world order, then you only hurt yourself. Now, we're not telling you what to do. We're not telling you to go be a prepper or anything, but you're smart enough to make rational decisions and adjust your life accordingly. But because you have learned to use your own brain, you don't need me to tell you what to do. But like you said, by having that dumb attitude, it's a dumb attitude that you're going to be neutral and thinking that you're doing something that the Bible teaches when the Bible teaches the exact opposite. You're only setting yourself up for failure when this is it, when the moment of truth is now before our very eyes. We're seeing it. Now, does that mean Jesus is returning? No. Does that mean the end of the world here? No. But something big is happening.
Well, here's the thing. If
Mhm.
Jesus were to come, hallelujah,
Great.
and glory be to Jesus. That's not what we're saying. But you live your life every day. You live your life until that moment comes when Jesus Christ comes. You stay busy. The
Mhm.
Jehovah's Witnesses would have you bury your talent in the ground. Now, here's where you said that they're morons, the governing body. Let's build on that. Yes, they're morons. Because this is a deeply, whether you're going to participate in the world or not, it's a deeply conscientious decision. But the Jehovah's Witnesses make it dogmatic part of their belief. That means that the millions of people that they come in contact with, it's like a person with COVID or AIDS, and he's sleeping with everybody in your city. The whole town is going to have AIDS.
Yeah.
And that's what happens to the Jehovah's Witnesses. They have a demon-inspired expression teaching called political neutrality. Everybody that they come in contact with has indifference to freedom, and everybody has apathy. They kill the passion of the patriot. They kill the passion of the Christ. They bury their talents on the ground and say, no, Jesus is going to fix it in the new world. Yes, he will. We're not stupid. But until that day, you have to maintain. There has to be maintenance on freedom. There has to be maintenance on Christianity. And we're it. And there lies the words that you keep saying. This is it. We're going to be tested like Christians and Americans like never before. This is it. Tomorrow, the dollar might be dead. Tomorrow, a loaf of bread might cost $1 million. Who knows? This is it. And the Jehovah's Witnesses would do nothing to empower or better the human experience. Nothing. They're just leeches. They just take and take and take. They're the first ones on welfare. They're the first ones on Social Security. They're the first ones on disability. But they're always the last to sacrifice.
Correct.
John F. Kennedy. What Social Security did John F. Kennedy receive? Or Section 8 housing? Abraham Lincoln. What Social Security did he get? Or what Medicaid did the Patriots on D-Day get? Did they get any Medicaid? That ones that died in Normandy? No. The Jehovah's Witnesses just take and don't give nothing to this American freedom. Now, in all the lands that they preach, where they practice political neutrality, where a communist comes to power, they always outlaw the Jehovah's Witness religion. They don't even do nothing to save their lily white asses.
That's true. So the reason this is also important is because what we're witnessing today is a repeat of history magnified, is what I was saying. 2020 came and the Jehovah's Witnesses failed miserably. They are 100% jabby yabby. They all got it. You guys know that. Now something bigger than 2020 is here. If you thought a jabby yabby, check this out, Jesse. If you thought a jabby yabby was bad in 2020, Imagine when in 2026, Elon Musk ramps up production to put high volume production of Neuralink brain chips in your head and in something like a smartphone in your hand. And then and then and then the mark of the beast doesn't come into mind. So you see what I'm saying is that this is it. You failed in 2020, and 2020 has reared its ugly head. And according to Business Insider and everything else that we're seeing, this is going to be worse. And they're not ready for it. They're totally unprepared.
You know, I always loved. The other day I was on with Ruby and Jimmy Bell, and I quoted Lincoln, and I said something about Lincoln, and Ruby started laughing, and she said, "You always say that about Lincoln," but it was very transformative because it was a second generation of American patriots on earth, so that when Lincoln came, that old generation, that old guard had died off. And so he was talking about these old patriots, just like we talk about Lincoln in the past tense. And something he always did in his speeches, and I've been listening to and studying his speeches lately, something that captures my attention, and this is how I distinguish real conservatives from fake conservatives, or people who don't understand, better said, because we're all conservatives. But there's a difference, the Lincoln type of conservative, where you always test the new teachings that the kids have, this new generation, like the Neuralink that you're talking about, with the old. And what are some of the old things we have learned in life? Because we're 50 years old. We've experienced a lot of things in life. And we compare it to the Constitution. For example, look at the Neuralink. The reason I, as a conservative, am worried about Neuralink is the right to privacy that we learn to love in the Constitution. If you have a Neuralink brain chip, think about it, and it can explore and do vast things, and you just happen to be somebody, let's say you're Joe Blow, okay? Joe Blow Christian. You get a Neuralink, but you have one secret thing in your life. One secret thing. You're secretly obsessed about women, and you lust over women, and you love maybe porn, or you love looking at naked women, or you like looking at women's pictures or their asses. You go to lunch and you're always looking at women. Don't you think that that's going to be transmittable to everybody with their Neuralink? How much of a pervert you are? Where in the right to privacy, you kept that private, and you prayed to God, and you worked on that. And that's just one thing. There could be a myriad of things, or your checking account number, or your debit card number. This opens up a whole world of problems. And that's what I get from studying the Constitution. You test it with the old tone of the Constitution.
So, Jesse, I'm going to post this right here. This is the title of the show. The JWs are morons. Donald Trump just announced global peace and security. The new world is here. We're not going to talk about the global peace and security. I'm going to talk about something else. Check this out. This girl's from Phoenix, Scottsdale, Phoenix, Arizona. Oops.
Gold and silver, physical gold and silver dealer. And today we had multiple clients who are trying to wire us funds to purchase gold and silver to escape the failing fiat system. And guess the banks are no longer allowing the wires to go through, not just to us, but to any precious metals company.
Now, check this out. This is where it's funny. Oh, not funny. This is where it's scary funny. So everybody on YouTube, everybody everywhere is saying, this guy, this Chinese Asian dude is crazy. Trading's been halted, suspended, force majeure has been declared. Guess what? It's not true. All of these things weren't true. But guess what? This is the thing. When she said that, and she's a real dealer in Scottsdale, he said that like 2 days before. So you don't know what to believe is true. Yeah, everybody's lying. But here's the point. What he was talking about is this, and this is where the JW governing body are morons, and they set everybody, all of us up for failure. Because when that happens, when the banks say you can't buy gold and silver, you have to stay in our system, then you're going to say, well, I'm going to buy crypto. And you know what they're going to do, Jesse? They're going to say, oh, Jesse, we think that's a suspicious transaction. We're going to put that money aside and we'll investigate it for 30 days. So now they got you by the balls, because let's say you have $30,000 and you wanted to buy Bitcoin. Well, guess what? Your $30,000 is on hold until they do an investigation, but it's not really on hold. The bank is bankrupt. And it's just a myriad of things. And what the point I'm trying to make is, because Watchtower, the governing body, the religions have set you up for failure, what we're witnessing in the United States right now, and people are saying, is what already happened in Lebanon and Greece and everything else. You're going to have a checking account. You go to the ATM and it says you can't take out $1,000 cash. Like, why? I always take out $1,000 cash. Now it's only 500, or they lower the limits. A lot of these things are happening, and then shit hits the fan. But it's a prelude. It's always the same thing. It's the same old song and dance, like Prince Sinatra says. It's the same old song and dance. So again, that's the whole point of what I'm trying to say is I don't pretend to know the outcome or how this movie ends. But I do know that you and I have been set up for failure by morons of biblical proportion. And there's movers and shakers and things that are happening in the world. And it's showtime. And everything that everybody's been preaching, your Ron Paul, G. Edward Griffin, all what is that guy who talked about the communist, McCarthy? Everything everybody's been preaching in the last 50, 60 years, 70 years. Well, guess what? It looks like we are entering into a new system. Something is about to happen. We don't know what it is. We don't pretend to know, but we do know that fear, like I always say, fear leads to anger, anger leads to hate, hate leads to suffering. Fear is the path to the dark side. And whatever, if anything you can get out of this video, is that fear is only going to hurt you. You have to embrace these things and try to find how am I going to survive what's coming? Because, but go ahead.
I think what is coming is just called reality. Let's say it's not a new system where, like you're talking about in the 1914, where we entered a new system where they got rid of the bells, they got rid of everything. Let's say it's not that type, where let's just say that the new system is just called a thing called reality. Imagine, remember Dilbert, Scott Adams just died, and he hedged his bet where?
He hedged his bet with Jesus,
Jesus Christ. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of with everybody, all of us. We're hedging our bet on reality. For example, let's say you're a transgendered person, okay? And you chop off or mutilate your body. And later on in life, you have a desire to have a family. And you can't physically have a family because you've hurt yourself. You've endangered your body. Reality steps in. And somebody says, you know what? You're not really a woman. That's reality. You can't have a baby. You can't get pregnant. He goes, what do you mean? What do you mean? The Democrats told me I'm a woman. You're not. The doctor will sit you in a corner in private when nobody's listening to you. You're not a woman. You don't have ovaries. You don't have eggs. You can adopt a baby, but you can't physically have. It's called reality. And the same thing is going to happen with fiat currency. And the inflation of the value and the worth of silver is just reality, and gold. So we're reaching reality because a lot of people are living in a fantasy world. They live in the world of 2 + 2 = 5. And now the check is coming due. They live in this world like Mandami in collectivism. He thinks, I'm going to collectivize this house. Go ahead, you communist mayor. But you're going to have to pay for all the upkeep. The building's going to fall down because you don't maintain it. Reality sets in because they never built anything. They weren't people like the Jehovah's Witnesses. They sit on their talent. They never work their talent. Jesus wanted you to work your talent. When you don't work your talent, your body goes into atrophy. Reality sets in. You don't have no extra. So I think what you're describing is just reality setting into the world. Hey, guess what? Collectivism doesn't work. Hey, guess what? Borrowing money doesn't work. Debt doesn't work. Fiat currency doesn't work. And that's what the United States Constitution was. It was just a groundwork of reality. You will not do this. You will not do that. You will not tread on me. It's all it was. When we go against it, reality has a way of equaling the water level. Water always seeks its own level, except in around Earth.
Except in around Earth, yeah. And that's where we're at right now, because everything that you're seeing on the news, like here on Thomas and 36th Street, the Home Depot, ICE was there in Phoenix, and you had the usual suspects out there protesting, but we're coming to find out that this cannot stand anymore. We can't coexist. One, with people that think it's okay to chop off your penis, or little boys' penises. We can't coexist with people that think it's okay to chop off a little girl's breasts. We can't coexist. There has to be. This is going to hit critical mass, and I don't know what's going to happen. But you have one thing for certain: you have to pick a side.
That's the one thing about being an apostate, being disfellowship. You and I were never disfellowship, but we're not disfellowship. They were too chicken. I don't know what happened. They would. You even did videos. What do I got to do to get disfellowship around here? But they don't talk to us. They just avoid us. And but the neat thing about losing your family as a Jehovah's Witness, the neat thing about losing all your family and friends in a city, is that you get to see what kind of pigs they are as human beings, and you get to see that the cult is. Now, one of the identifiable features of a cult, like the Jehovah's Witnesses and the Democrats and the homosexuals, and you talk about it all the time, they don't like to talk about what they did last night. And I thought, do you know why God created the weather? You know why God created the weather?
Why?
So that way you'll have something to talk about when you meet a cult member. Because they don't want to talk about anything else. They want to talk about superfluously, like the cloud. Go talk to a Democrat or communist who knows you're a conservative. Go talk to a Jehovah's Witness who knows you're an apostate. And the first thing they'll tell you, hey, hasn't the weather been beautiful? Because they have nothing else of substance they could talk about. Because they'll say, hey, have you seen how you guys are burning Minneapolis? They don't want to talk about that. Hey, have you seen all these kids that are committing suicide or regret that they did what they did to their body? They don't want to talk about that. Hey, you notice that lies you did about the overlapping generation? They don't want to talk about nothing of consequence. Nothing. So they live in denial.
Here it is.
That's why, you know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is?
What?
Is to act like it didn't happen. They all do the same job.
That's what you're describing. They act like it didn't happen. What? Billions of dollars weren't funneled to New Somaliland, which happens to be the only new country with the backing of Israel. Somalia has the backing of Israel? No, Somaliland. And that's where your Minnesota tax dollars are going, being funneled. Who knows what that means? I don't know.
The other day,
Same thing with the money in California with the light rail. The same thing with California losing its Target stores. Frito-Lay shut down less than a year ago. Gas stations being shut down, refineries being shut down. This is the problem with our Democratic friends. You guys all act like it doesn't even happen. While you're being raped and screwed by what George Washington said, the last official act of a corrupt government is the raiding of the treasury. While you're being raped to high heaven, you act like if your party is magnanimous, just like the JWs, just like you Democrats are like Jehovah's Witness cults. You get raped in ungodly fashion and you pretend nothing happened.
or they participate in it, or they see it, or they witness it. Let me give you an example of what you just said, a real life example. The other day, Donald Trump is walking through Detroit, and he flips off a guy who says, "Hey, you pedophile protector." So
Mhm.
Trump flips him off and says, "Fuck, F you."
Mhm.
And here's the thing about our Democrat brothers and sisters and our conservative rhinos. They attacked Donald Trump, who kicked Jeffrey Epstein out of his Mar-a-Lago.
Mhm.
Kicks him out.
Mhm.
And they attack him. Even the Republicans, the conservatives that voted for him. Hey, release the Epstein files. They attack Donald Trump. He pays. Why is the rich man busy dancing while the poor man pays the band? Here's the guy who didn't participate in it. And Bill Clinton, who did, gets 100% scotch-free. They pretend it didn't happen. Everybody who went to Epstein Island is living today scotch-free. Everybody. Every single last one of them. The only guy that has to pay is the guy who didn't participate. That is the burden of freedom. That is the burden of freedom. Ronald Reagan says the martyrs of history were not fools. We have to learn. Jesus Christ says, if you want to, follow me, pick up your cross and follow me. That is the burden of freedom. Our brothers are going to rejoice in sin in this world. That's the system we live in. When they die in the afterlife, you can't even describe what's going to hound them through the streets, the dark streets and narrow pathways and the dark alleys of hell that will chase them through eternity.
And this is what, yeah. And this is why, I put down as the title. Where's my title? They're morons. Because when it's happening in front of your face, you either recognize it and act accordingly, or like Cat Williams says, you pretend it didn't happen. Like Jesse was describing. And that's where we're at right now. Now, I just found it very interesting, Jesse, that this is a great week. In less than 7 days, peace and security, global. See, Donald Trump wasn't happy with just saying peace and security. He had to kick it up a notch. He went global peace and security. New World Order was announced today, right, by the Canadians, and the monetary system and the World Economic Forum is at the verge of collapse, or Babylon the Great. This is a great time to be alive. Whoa.
Gilbert, I wanted to expand on what you said about the New World Order. There's an irony of the irony. There's an irony of an irony in that. Could the New World Order be, and I wrote it down because I knew I was going to forget, because my brain is not as big as Abraham Lincoln. But he said this. He defined conservatism. And why am I a conservative? This is the way Lincoln, if you go back and listen to Lincoln, Gilbert, you'll be amazed. You think he'll be talking about force majeure. You think he'll be talking about Iran policy. Everybody should go back. I invite everybody. Go read him. But look at what he said about conservatism. Mind you, this is before the Civil War. Before he's even a nominee to the Republican Party of the presidential election. He says, Lincoln defined conservatism as adherence to the old and tried. Adherence to the old and tried. The Constitution, the Bible, the things we knew. Against the new and untried. Against the new and untried. So what we have today, we have a lot of young people coming into the conservative movement. A lot of people, and they have new ideas. Like the other day, we heard some of the new guys, like, for instance, this guy that's always with Alex Jones. And he says, and he quotes Hitler, and he quotes Nazi, that they were doing something good. That's how you know they are not of our fold. They are not conservative. Because American conservatives died fighting the advances of Nazism. And that's how we have fealty to the Constitution, the old and tried, the Constitution, not fascism, not communism, but the right to own property, the right to be secure in your own home. Mamdani has nothing to do with us. He's not of our caliber. And so we have to have adherence. And I'm going to get back to the New World Order. But take, for instance, this. Let's say we pick somebody out in 1764, an American, somebody in 1864, and somebody today. like Rashida Tlaib. And she talks about when she sees cowboys and guns and stuff, she gets triggered because she's a Palestinian. Now, Rashid Tlaib is not an American in the sense that that man was in 1764 or 1864 or 1944. She's not that type of American. She is an American. You notice how it keeps going? It's America, but it's a new thought. Therein lies the New World Order. It doesn't mean that the flags won't be here. It doesn't mean that the nations won't be here. It just means it's going to be a whole new order. It's going to be a new order. There will still be an America. There will still be an American flag. But instead of being like Abraham Lincoln or Martin Luther King or John F. Kennedy, the people are going to be like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. They're going to be like Eric Swalwell. They're going to be like RuPaul. They're not going to be your normal men and women that we knew, like mom and dad and our grandparents. That is it. But surprise, 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 our side is not going to surrender. Did the homosexuals and the transgenders think that we were just going to surrender? Did the Democrats think we're just going to shut up? And did they think we wouldn't say nothing? Did they think we would just shut up and go to prison? Did they think that we would just transgender our children without a fight? Mm-hmm. Well, the Jehovah's Witnesses and the different cults like the Democrats would say yes. It'll fix itself, or Jesus will fix it. And we're saying no. Every day there's more of us people who say no. There is a line that they will not cross. And that's what I'm saying is the New World Order. It's coming up and biting them in the ass. Yes, there's going to be a New World Order, but it's called the United States Constitution. There's going to be a New World Order. Our brothers in the Democrat Party think it's going to be communism and Marxism and Islamism, but it's not.
Well, all I'm saying is with everything that's happening, like, it's like, remember, who's it? The movie goes ding dong. Oh, remember Rocky? Remember he goes ding dong.
Mm-hmm.
It started. This is why we're going back to the JWs are morons. Donald Trump just announced global peace and security. It's on. It's this what we're going to witness and I've been saying this for years, that it's biblical in perspective. Jesse, when what's happening today in the silver market has a ability to knock down quadrillions of dollars in fake money, derivative money, just money that doesn't exist.
Okay, well, hold on. On the New World Order, let me ask you a question. Let's get into economics.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be a new order if we use gold or silver as a basis for our monies?
Correct. And all I'm saying is that
what we're doing is we're using Lincoln's words. We're trying to go back to the tried and true. We tried fiat currency.
Correct.
And let's get away from it. So could the New World Order be a correction?
The Great Reset. So by me just bringing about the quadrillions, it's a tidal wave, and the tidal wave is so great that it will bring in a new world. That's how big the tidal wave is. Now, the argument that I've been listening to is who's going to hit the reset button first. It's kind of like when you get in a fight with your wife or your girlfriend, who's the one that gets arrested?
The one who calls the cops. The one who doesn't call the cops.
Yeah, you got to call the cop first, man. You got to call the cop first. So on the Great Reset, this is where people are saying with Donald Trump going with Greenland, he's going to push the button first. See, he's going to sit, and that's why I say you can't leave your now. A lot of people, they don't believe that Donald Trump, like we have a lot of people like, your Rubies and your Aaron here and who's the other one? Where they're always knocking on Donald Trump, right? All I'm saying is this.
Man, I'm coming in. Can you shut up? That was some of the best flying I've seen yet. Right up to the part where you got killed. You never leave your wingman.
You just don't do it. I don't think people understand the gravity of the situation that we're in. And this is where the religions have failed people. We are in such a, in that movie, they're in a dogfight. We are in a dogfight of dogfights. This will go down in history. You never ever leave your wingman. And if we have one wingman, I'm telling you, man, if Trump knows if he don't win.
But listen,
yeah.
you gotta defend the pussies on our side.
Okay.
Excuse my French. You gotta defend them, and there's a lot of them. Donald Trump told you this was going to happen. He's going to say, we're going to have so much winning. You might even get tired. And you're going to say, no more winning. I can't take it anymore. And he's going to say, no, we got to win some more. He told you this was going to happen. And all the pussies can't handle victory. There's nothing we could do about it. That's just human nature. Some people are born men and some people are born women. And unfortunately today, a lot of men are born women. They can't handle the winning. They can't see people who came in illegally who want to bring evil things to our country being evicted. They can't see that. They can't handle that. Their world is shattered. That's what Donald Trump was saying. Hey, we're going to win so much. You might even get tired of winning. There's people right now in your chat section that are tired of it.
You're going to be so proud of your country if I get in. You're going to be so proud of your president. And
can you hear it?
I don't care about that.
You can hear it?
But you are going to be so proud of your country because we're going to turn around and we're going to start winning again. We're going to win so much. We're going to win at every level. We're going to win economically. We're going to win with the economy. We're going to win with military. We're going to win with healthcare and for our veterans. We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much. You may even get tired of winning and you'll say, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more. We're going to win so much. I love you, Albany. Get out and vote. You will be so happy.
Wow. Some people don't know how to win. You got to know that. When we were little kids playing baseball, it's true. Some kids don't know how to win. They just go out there to get a trophy for everybody. But then there's kids out there that know how to win. Like Michael Jordan, he was a winner. There's people who are winners. Some people don't know how to win. Some people would give the whole country over to Islam. Some people would give the whole country over for a orgy. They would. Jesus gave Judas Iscariot gave up Jesus for what?
30 pieces of silver, yeah.
And Jesus says, what? You betray me with a kiss? And so that's what America has become. So why did Jesus come? John the Baptist had to prepare the way. What I'm saying is we need to prepare the way and understand that there's a lot of losers everywhere. They don't know how to win. And businessmen know because there's a burden. There's a cost to everything. For example, for us to be free of sin, what was the burden? God paid the burden in the cost of his son's life, Jesus Christ. There's no such thing as a free lunch in America. Everything comes at a cost. It's just that you don't know it, but somebody else is paying for it. A lot of people can't understand freedom. They don't understand the burden of freedom. They don't understand the cost of being business. They don't cost of being free. Somebody else pays for it because you don't. Lincoln says, you know what it means, the definition of being free? You work, I eat. It's not fair, but that's what it is. In reverse, the same thing is true. A lot of people don't know how to win. And Donald Trump warned America, you might even get tired of it. You'll say, there's so much. And everybody thought it was a joke. He was saying the truth. We just didn't understand it. We're seeing it now. Even in the comments section right here, if you read them, there's some people saying, no, Donald Trump is pushing a lot of buttons. I know. Put your seatbelt on. Strap on. It's going to be a bumpy ride, bitch. The road to freedom is not paved with beautiful. It's on a rocky road.
Yeah. Correct. And then also, and this is my gut feeling. I heard Xi Jinping. I can't find that speech, but Xi Jinping was talking about how, because of Hong Kong with the British occupation of Hong Kong, right? They gave it to him after a 100-year deal. How China and Russia understand that they're working. Here we are working, and somebody in London is telling me how much this silver is worth, how much these coffee beans are worth, how much these bananas are worth, how much my vodka is worth, pork bellies are worth, how much these cocoa beans are worth. And so the whole world hates the New York Stock Exchange and also the World Economic Forum, the Rothschilds, because what we have here, it's just real simplified. And I don't know why the religions don't teach this. Now I know why, but that you have a group in our modern history, we have a group of elites that they're the ones that are going to tell you what copper is worth. And you're going to, like you said, you're going to go out and work and get the copper here in Arizona, and they're going to eat, like you said. And so Xi Jinping was saying, no, this is not how it's supposed to work. So what I'm trying to say is Donald Trump is not telling you what he's going to do. But my gut tells me that Donald Trump has more in line, more common ground with China and Russia, who are manufacturing, than he has with Brussels. And the only people building anything in Europe are the Germans, Well, not everybody else, but see, that's the thing. So I really think, like a lot of people want, like you said about winning, you think that Donald Trump is going to tell you everything he's doing and how he's going to do it. He said it many times. He's not going to tell you. He's not going to report to you. But I really think that the fight right now, according to everything in the news, and this thing about Donald Trump announcing global peace and security, the new world is here. I think it's the fight. The fight is not with China, Jesse. The fight is not with Russia. The fight is with the World Economic Forum and the United Nations. That's just my gut feeling.
Let's say you're wrong. Let's play the devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. It's still in a wrong position. Ronald Reagan says it's better to die on your feet than to live on your knees. And that is the position that our Democrat brothers and sisters have taken, like Prime Minister Carney in Canada. They have chosen to live on their knees and grovel to China. It reminds me of the 1974 yearbook of Jehovah's Witnesses with Brother Balzerite, president of the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society of Germany during the 1930s, leading up to the 1933, 1935, 36 persecution of seditionists in Germany before the final solution of the Jewish solution. They persecuted political dissidents and homosexuals, gypsies, and other groups that the Nazi party found seditionists. Now, Brother Balzerite was given instruction by Brother Rutherford to not stop the field service work and the printing of the Watchtower and the Wake magazines. And Brother Balzerite, he did what Hitler's government told him to do. He thought he would curry favor, and this is in the 1974 yearbook. He thought he would curry favor with the National Socialist Party. It didn't. They didn't respect traitors either. So not only did he lose the Jehovah's Witnesses, his brothers and sisters, when he was disfellowshipped by Brother Rutherford, but even the Nazi parties, he curried no favor. He tried to curry favor with the socialist Nazis, but he didn't, because they hated traitors too. And that's one thing our Democrat brothers and sisters don't understand. By you being a communist or a Marxist or a Palestinian marcher, when they take over, they're not going to have any mercy on you. The first people that the communists kill when they take over are the school teachers, the intellectuals. Go look at Khmer Rouge in 1974, 1975, follows of Phnom Penh. Go look at the Cultural Revolution in the 1960s and 1970s under Mao Zedong. Every time the Marxists take over a land, the first people they kill are all these white, educated, liberal women that we have in the United States protesting for the Marxists. They're the first ones that get whacked by the communists, the intellectuals. So it's not good. It's good to take a side with truth, and don't hedge your money with these communist New World Order types. It's not going to go good with you. So what I'm saying, Gilbert, let's say you're wrong and it's not the Chinese, not these WF types. Let's say the Chinese are the enemies.
Okay.
Currying favor with them is not going to save your life.
No.
If the China were to take over the United States, do you think they will treat the Democrats with do you think they would treat the people who are Democrats with special privileges? They'll kill everybody equally.
Correct. Yeah. In no defense of China, but China is going to take advantage of anybody that's being stupid. If you believe that you can chop off your penis and call yourself a girl, you better believe the Chinese are going to take you for every dime, nickel, and penny that you have. So I don't blame them for that, But I do believe in a grander scale. I don't believe Donald Trump views Russia as the enemy. He views the World Economic Forum and the United Nations as more of a detriment to our country.
I agree with you. The only reason I picked on China specifically is because you put a video of Prime Minister Carney in China groveling to the Chinese. So what I'm saying is our progressive liberal brothers and sisters in the Western Hemisphere are kissing ass to China right now. They're bringing in Chinese soldiers to Canada. They've been doing it for decades now. They've been doing it for years now. Our brothers in Spain or Mexico and Panama, they've been giving inroads to China. So all these people in the Western Hemisphere have been making love to the Chinese Communist Party, the Silk Road, the Belt and Road. What is it called? The Silk Belt and Road. They've been giving inroads to the Chinese Communist Party. The Democrat Party have been selling secrets to the Chinese communists. Everybody has been hedging their bet that they are the New World Order. That's why I talked about the Chinese.
Correct.
Because a lot of people are putting their faith. They have more faith in China than they do on Jesus Christ. In God. And their own country. And their own souls. Mark Carney, I bet you, has more faith in the Chinese Communist Party than he does on his own merits.
Yeah. And also because, I think the Chinese are onto something. There's a spirit that's going through the earth. And you described it in Mexico, United States, where people are selling out their country for 30 pieces of silver. Look at that guy that shot Ashley Babbitt, on January 6th. He was in on the fraud scheme, the Somali daycare. Everywhere you go, you see stories of the fraud. And it's basically Americans, Mexicans, every country you go, people are willing to sell out their country for 30 pieces of silver. And the Chinese are capitalizing on that spirit.
Yeah. And you know what? What happened is every businessman who's not a Christian, a true Christian, not a true American, John F. Kennedy said, ask not what your country will do for you, ask what you will do for your country. Did you know that there's American citizens who live and die by those words?
Yeah.
When Jesus says, let your yes be yes and your no be no, did you know that there are Christian people in America who live by those words? And every day they go to business, and every day they don't get contracts. Every day they don't get government jobs. Every day they don't get funding. Every day they don't. Why? Because it takes you to screw your country in order for you to get these contracts. You have to let your no be yes and your yes be no to participate in this. There's bribes and kickbacks. Every businessman knows that. Every businessman knows that business is dirtier than shit. And
Now,
what do you think the medical industry is? What do you think Obamacare is? You talk about the trillions of dollars in debt. I bet you a lot of that debt went to bribes and kickbacks and not operations. I bet you with AI, we can physically get a number of the cost of every medical operation in the last 30 to 40 years. And it wouldn't reach $1 trillion.
Correct. Now we're going to go on to the next subject and we'll see what you think about the Don Roe doctrine. Trump doesn't want any of them in our hemisphere. But do you want me to go into a comedy hour real quick? Just a real quick comedy story. So So I say, hey, King of Dots, why don't you come on the show? And he goes, what, to show you up? I go, yeah. He goes, I have no number. I go, we'll get on StreamYard. I've never been on StreamYard. And then I gave him the link. And then he goes, unsuccessful attempt, Captain, because the link is to a Pasta Babe show. Oh, that's funny. Gotta love that guy, King of Dots. But should we let him in? I don't know.
Yeah. I really think now the things he talks about historically in his neighborhood, very fascinating. I really love him. Okay. He does have a lot of historical insight what happened in his part of the country in the Jehovah's Witness movement in the 50s. You won't hear that nowhere.
No.
Outside of him.
So that's the real link. I just posted it.
Yeah, I'd love to have him on because you know what? When I hear he goes on Rick Fearon and he says the things that happen in his congregations, I can envision them happening.
As long as there's no poem reading, I won't put up with poem reading. But here's the thing. What do you think about the Don Rowe doctrine where he says, Chad?
It says, Trump doesn't want any of them in our hemisphere. Well, neither do I. I mean, what does he want?
Well, no, but that part goes to the global peace and security.
Well, here's the thing. Even though we speak Spanish, they speak English. Hold on. We have a shared experience in America. We have a shared experience. We do come from the Latin Vulgate. We do come from Manifest Destiny. We do have a common shared experience, the English speaking and the Spanish speaking in the Americas. And we are uniquely different than the Slavic nations. We are different than the Sino nations. We are different. We are the Americans. And I say keep them out. Well, it's our party.
What we're having is the Solomon moment of cutting up the child. What Chad is describing is, again, by Trump announcing global peace and security, a lot of people are saying the new world is here. The hemispheres are going to be divided. You stay on your side, we'll stay on our side. And hence, that is the new world that a lot of people are saying that is being proposed.
Yeah.
New system of things.
But another thing that a lot of the chat section doesn't understand is that when we propose something, we come from the angle that we're right and they're wrong. And so when we say that we agree with the Don Rowe doctrine, it really doesn't matter what the comment section says. We want to hear what you think, so maybe we can correct you because you're wrong. But no, we don't need Chinese or Muslims in the Americas.
No, we don't.
Now, does that mean that a Muslim can't come to America and have a productive life? No, of course he can. Like, for instance, in Quartzsite, Arizona, there's a place called High Jolly. He was one of the founders of a city, town here in Arizona, north of Yuma. And his name was Haj Ali. And everybody called him High Jolly. And he introduced camels into the desert.
Yeah.
And he was a beautiful man. He has a rich history in Arizona. But he adopted himself to Arizona. He wasn't trying to burn down for the Palestinians our state. You know, you live within it. But some people, they have their passion so great that they'll destroy their nation